3, 2, 1, go. What's up, YouTube and other privileged countries with internet? It's your favorite game developer, Devtrast, here coming at you with another game devlog for Space Imperialist Idle. So last we left off, I was doing great. There was a lot of work being put in. I was super stoked, and then all of a sudden this week, at the end of month 1, this is just garbage. I mean, my motivation, my discipline, completely lacking in this week. I had 2 0 days, which I was trying not to do at all. I mean, you'll see there was a couple days where I logged on, didn't do very much, and called it a night. And I at least wanted to do that on every single day going forward. But, you know, maybe I'm putting a little too much pressure on myself, too much expectation, too high of an expectation. So it is what it is, right? But anyhow, let's just jump into it, okay? You also might notice that there's a pretty big sound boost in quality, and that is because I got this sweet toner. Obviously tones, right? Audio tones. But I picked it up on Amazon for like $25. This is the old thing that I was working with. You can see it's got like a floppy leg over here. It's busted through, but this thing worked okay for what it was. But I bought this new one because I thought, how cool would it be to have a pop filter? I'm basically like a real streamer now, real YouTuber. But also, I looked at, I saw my quality of my audio in the last devlog, and I was like, man, this is not working. So I was like, oh, it's got to be the microphone. So I buy this microphone on Amazon, and then I am looking at like audio videos on like how to edit, and come to find out, well, when you set up your microphone inputs, you're not supposed to go past 0 decibels. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but my voice is kind of loud. And so it just projects and it just annihilates everything in its path. So what ended up happening is pretty much all of my audio goes past 0 decibels. And OBS has a setting in it that will limit that. And so what you're supposed to do is on either your input device or your input software, you are supposed to limit your voice up to like -6 decibels. So it doesn't go past that point. It doesn't hit 0, because once it hits 0, then your audio gets all like fucked up and it gets all like compressed, and then it's unsalvageable. Essentially, you can't edit that out. So got this new microphone. I'm pretty happy with it. Looks sweet, and it has the word Tonor on it, which I don't even know if that's a real word. I think that's just the brand. Anyways, it feels like I'm sponsored by Tonor. I'm probably not. They're not paying me anything, so who knows? But we'll jump into it, right? Let's get the infinite Devtrast. Let's summon the infinite Devtrast. There they are. Oh my god, they look so good. Boom. So, first thing you'll notice, these giant red 0 days. And I put these in red because I wanted a constant reminder of my failures. So, these were just straight up zeros. I didn't do anything. I didn't even log onto my computer to punch in. I had to do this after the fact. You'll notice that because these timestamps match up. 1942. That's military time. And I didn't do anything. So that was already a pretty big hit. Not only that, but when we last left off, I recorded devlog number 2. That was the previous week. And look at this work ethic right here. I mean, we're looking at, in this 7 days, 12 hours and 42, almost 13 hours of work put in. And that's good work. I mean, look at all this. Look at all this text that I had. Look at all these stories that I was able to put into the last devlog, right? Which was so unfortunate for the audio situation, because it's like I finally get my audio fixed, and now I don't have anything to talk about other than how crappy my audio was in the last video, where I had a bunch of stuff to talk about. But so that's also why I made them red, because I'm like, oh man, let's hammer it home, right? Like, we don't have any content, red text. That's what we're going to talk about. So after I recorded the devlog 2, on our first working day, we had, and let's just tally up what we got right now, right? So 10 hours and 42 minutes. I guess that's not too bad, but considering I average like an hour to an hour and a half per day, that's pretty much like 2 days lost right there, which is really unfortunate. So on the first day back, I did great, right? I added parts and factories. So in the last devlog, I had ore and I had drills. And so now I have parts and factories. And this was awesome because I got to take the ore and make parts out of it using factories, and factories auto-make the ore, or auto-make the parts, excuse me. But I did have an issue with those parts not creating ore if it was less than 0. And so let's take a look at that loop. So this is more updated right now than what was done at that point. But what we have is we have our auto parts here, and essentially we have this if loop where if the global ore count minus the internal increase, and the internal increase is the amount that is being increased, the parts, the number of parts that are being increased. So essentially I'm saying if the global ore count subtract the internal increase of the parts, doubled is less than or equal to 0, then you can't do anything. And what was missing was this part right here. And so this creating parts equals false. If you notice up here, when the void update hits, which is just the update frame per second, the parts increase equals the global factory parts per second. We don't need to worry about that. But this if loop hits. So if creating parts equals false, then creating parts will be turned into true, and then you're going to start this coroutine, create the parts. So that'll come down here. So what this does is it just ensures that if this happens, right, that once it hits 0, then it's gonna go through this if loop again, because without this in there, it was just stopping, and then the parts would not auto increase. It would start to auto increase, and then as soon as the ore hit 0 or less than 0, then it would just stop that coroutine altogether. So we fixed that. That was a really productive day. I felt super good about that. And then, we have a 10-minute, 52-second workday. This was the beginning of the lethargy. Lethargy? The lethargy. I don't know. Probably the name of a boss I'll put in here. But I was like, I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything. I think a big reason for it is just my sleep and my eating habits have been garbage. So, you get what you put in. So I remember on this day, I was like, nope, no 0 days. No 0 days. We cannot have a 0 day. We got to do it. We got to do it, right? So I went in there and I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to code. I don't want to think. I don't want to have to do much of anything. So I was like, I'm just going to go to the game design document and just update that, because I did have a deadline of getting this done on the 17th. And I was like, okay, I can do this. I can get at least this deadline complete. So what I did was I went into the game design document and I finished the new player experience. And actually I felt pretty good about this after I got it done, even though it was only 11 minutes of work. And, maybe I shouldn't be comparing my workload or my work outputs to time put in. But, time is the limited resource here. Money I'm not really worried about. There isn't much of a budget for this game. So time is the thing that I have to play with. And I'm on a deadline. So I don't know, it's kind of important to do some pretty productive work. So on this game design document, did I summon the infinite Devtrast? Okay, I did. All right. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was in that mode, because that would have rendered this devlog null garbage. I don't know. This whole week's garbage. You know how it goes. So anyways, I worked on first time user experience, which kind of goes through as soon as you log in, what I expect your first time user experience will be. And it's basically just a tutorial. So it'll take you through, if it's your first time ever playing, it's going to show you clicking on the planets, what each resource does. And it'll take you all the way through, going through buying, all your different things, your drill, your factory, your market or trade hub. I haven't decided on the name for that yet. And then it'll take you on your first expedition. And expedition is where you're going to be encountering things that'll be added to your home screen. And I haven't really dived into that into Unity yet, so we won't talk about that. So I worked on that for 11 minutes. Then the next day I was like, you know what? Here we go. Deadline. I know I'm feeling lethargic again. I don't want to do any work. I'm just not feeling it whatsoever. So this was a 16-minute workday. And so I added some text to screens and UI, And let me hold on. Added some text to screen/UI. Oh, okay. In the game design document, right? I was like, yeah, okay. Added what screens? Like, be more descriptive. That's how lethargic I was. But up here in the screens, user interface and user experience, I added what that all is going to entail. So this is pretty close to done. The only thing I don't have is like level schema and sample level design. I don't really know if I'm going to even touch on that because there's no real levels, right? It's a clicker. It's just screens. You're not like exploring things. I mean, you are, but it's like you're like auto moving, right? And it's just randomly popping in different assets. So I don't think I'll touch on that. I might consider this complete, but I just don't feel like I deserve it at this point to mark this complete. I feel like I need to miss this deadline by a couple more days just to punish myself. But so again, did not want to do work on that day. 218, boom, 0 days. So I know exactly what happened, right? I was going to do another one of these 15-minute days or whatever, except that I got caught up, in the nostalgia bomb, right? So I went to YouTube, and what popped up? Some sick meme compilations, for one. I mean, you can't skip those. So that was like 10 minutes, right? And then keep in mind, right, we have a 2-year-old, and she's up until about like 7:30 p.m. And so that's our time, so we'll spend some time together, my fiance and I, and we'll watch some TV or we'll play some video games together, whatever it is. And then from like 8 to 8:30 until I go to bed, which is usually around 11, I will work on, this game. That's my time slot. Well, in addition to the sick meme compilation that I watched, there was a video that popped up that was early 2000s commercials. And, as a millennial, there's nothing I like more than watching ads, as YouTube would have you believe. So I sat and watched an hour and a half, or close to an hour and a half, of early 2000s commercials. And I mean, we're talking like the old school Kraft commercials with like the Kraft dinosaur. Dude, there was one that, there's so many Chef Boyardee commercials. Like, I can't even believe that Chef Boyardee was such a big thing. But one of the, probably the most memorable one is like this girl is in the store with her parents, and she's like, "Oh, Mom, can I have Chef Boyardee for dinner?" And like a good parent, she's like, "No." But then she follows it up with, "You had it last night." And I'm like, okay, well, you're still a bad parent then. So she's like, "Oh, okay." She puts it back on the shelf. They walk out of the aisle, and then this sentient can of Chef Boyardee pops off the shelf and rolls after him. Now, keep in mind, it rolled off the shelf literally 2 seconds after they left the aisle. It then goes on a journey to their house and stalks this poor little girl because it's like, "I want you to eat me." If that's not predatory behavior, I don't know what is. I'm sure she has like a Me Too that we can, like look up on Twitter about this Chef Boyardee can. So it's rolling after her. Now, keep in mind, they were at the store, the grocery store, right? Just getting some groceries, okay? This can went on like a 20-mile journey. Now, I don't know what's wrong with this family. A, they're feeding their children Chef Boyardee, which is poison in a can. Two, this can, they're going shopping 20 miles away. Like, you're telling me, I mean, it was like a nice suburb they lived in, right? You're telling me there isn't like an Albertsons or like a Ralph's or a Fred Meyer or a Walmart near your house? Like, why is this can going so far to come get you? Not only that, it probably developed botulism on the way there from getting all the dents. So it was mind-blowing that's how they decided to sell Chef Boyardee. So anyways, as you can see, that's why that was a 0 day, because I got caught up in that craziness, right? So anyways, that's what I decided to dedicate my time to, was watching a huge compilation of those ads. And just another reminder as to how wonderful that 0 day was. But the next day, oops. Oh, hey, stop it, formula. The next day was really productive. So this is where I made up some of my time. I did 2.5 hours, and I worked on the prototype. I added goods and improved factories. But big, huge problem that I caused myself that I just figured out today. When I did this, what happened was I created this, right, the auto parts, and we'll take a look at what that looks like here. So this is what I did before this 2.5 hour day. Right, so we got this. Oh man, this audio is so loud on this game. I gotta get rid of these sounds too. These aren't my sounds, right? So now we've got the factories that are made. We got a drill, so the drill's making the ore, and then the factory is making the parts. And as you can see, every second it's taking 2 away from the ore, and then it's adding 1 to the parts. And so now you can see it's locked because I don't have enough drills to cover my factories. It's keeping my ore low, so that's something that I'll need to take into account. So, okay, we're at 9. I wonder if that needs to go up. So will that work now? Oh, great. Okay, so now we have another issue that I need to troubleshoot is the ore is no longer... Oh, no, this makes sense. Okay, so now, because I have 2 drills, 1 factory, the ore is not going up, but my parts are going up. And so the creation of the ore matches the creation of the parts. So that's what that is. So if I buy another drill, then I'll have 1 ore being created per second. So that wasn't a problem. But on this 2.5 hour workday, what I did was I added that just like the ore, I wanted when you clicked on the planet, it's going to make parts if you have a factory installed on it. Now I'm going back and forth on how I want to approach this. But basically what I did was that wasn't a problem because I could, when I clicked on the planet, it would take away the ore and then it would add it to the parts. But what was happening is that my auto parts was not firing. And so it was able to create the parts, but it wouldn't fire until my ore hit 0. And so I don't know. It was I've been for the last couple days I've been trying to think about what the problem was, and I went through each of these scripts. I mean, I went through the auto parts script, I went through the global factory, the global parts, and I went through all this. I mean, I looked through the global ore, I compared it, and I just could not figure out what the heck was the problem was. And it turns out the issue was in my planet click. And so when I click on the planet, there's something in here which is commented out that it's preventing the auto parts from firing. And I think it has to do with this if statement where if the auto parts is creating parts and the global ore minus the factory in parts per second times 2 is greater than or equal to 0, then it'll fire this. And I think this is somehow overriding what I have here in the create the parts subroutine. So still troubleshooting that. I just found that removing this fixes that. But yeah, a lot of that 2.5 hours that I have on there, while it was productive, I did not figure out what that issue was until today, which is down here. And then the following 2 days, this is the weekend, I edited Devlog 2 and then edited and uploaded it to YouTube, added the thumbnail, the Adobe Audition audio edit and all that. And then yesterday, another 0 day. I did end up watching more early 2000s ads. So, I don't know. I think that might be like an addiction of some sort. I don't know. I might have to look into therapy for nostalgic ads. But we did get some work done today, and I'll add that. As you can see, that was 2031. It's now 10:24. It's 2 hours later. So looking good there. So I did some work on the scripts, and I got this devlog recorded. So anyhow, that's what I got this week. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Have a good week. And next week, I hope to come back to you with a much more productive work week. Although it was pretty entertaining. I did like this devlog. Talked for 19 minutes. Damn. Look at me. Maybe I'll just stop working on this game and then just tell you guys about what I would do if I was working on the game. Maybe I'll just do commentaries on early 2000s ads. It depends where the demand is, right? Supply and demand. Just like, power in Texas right now. Hey, demand is high. That's why you're getting $18,000 bills, right? Not our fault that we got a cold snap. Anyways, have a great night, great week. See you all next week.